We're not trying to test you.
I guess you are.
And see if you remember the lyrics. We're having some real technical problems streaming on YouTube this morning. So forgive us. We'll try and get it right here, if possible. And let's see, Tim, do you have a slide for this one? It may get a laugh. It's our attempt to get. There is a slide for this particular reading too. It's the one with the chicken coming in. There we go. Thanks, Tim. Our meditation today is from the 19th century English clergyman and hymnist Samuel John Stone. His poem is written from the voice of a newly hatched chicken. Most strange, most queer, although most excellent a change. Shades of prison house disappear. My fettered thoughts have won a wider range, and like my legs, are free. No longer huddled up so pitiably. Free now to pry and probe and peep and peer, and make these mysteries out. Shall a free-thinking chicken live in doubt? For now, in doubt undoubtedly I am. This problem's very heavy on my mind, and I'm not one to either shirk or sham. I won't be blinded, and I won't be blind. Now let's see. First, I would know, how did I get in there? Then, where was I before? Besides, why didn't I get out before? How do I know I was ever inside? Now I reflect, it is, I do maintain, less than my reason, and beneath my pride, to think that I could dwell in such a paltry, miserable cell as that old shell. Where did I come from then? Ah, where indeed? This is a riddle, monstrous hard to read. I have it. Why, of course, all things are molded by some plastic force, out of some atoms somewhere up in space, fortuitously concurrent anyhow. There now, that's as plain as the beak upon my face. Let us enjoy some silence. you're welcome now to light a candle of joy or concern. And you can also do the same at the back, or write your joy or concern in a book back there, and we'll make sure it gets into our weekly e-newsletter.
Our reading this morning is an excerpt from a book entitled Enslaved by Ducks. It's a Michigan author. I should have known I was doomed to write a book about our animals. Since they had taken over just about everything else in my life, it was only a matter of time before they commandeered my word processor. Though not quite as frequently as my editor had claimed, animal anecdotes had steadily gnawed their way into my music column over the years. And over time, I have found myself thinking of them less as animals and more as beings, as little packets of alien intelligence. The long, smooth slide from keeping one animal to housing more than 24 amazes me as much as the fact that I am willing to expend energy on them. I'm so lazy, I'll take an entire month to clean my upstairs office by shuffling around a few mounds of junk per day. Yet pets have compelled me to perform back-breaking labors that would wake me screaming from a dream. I thought that I could use my book to warn people about the pitfalls of keeping pets. The bunny with the charming overbite will strip your living room carpet bare. Backyard ducks that supposedly take care of themselves require more maintenance than the space shuttle. And the goose that you get for free could get sick and empty your pockets faster than a trip through airport security. A bad winter, even by Michigan measure, had tossed cold water on our assumptions that keeping ducks would be a cinch. Daily chores kicked off each morning with our bundling up from head to toe, trudging across an Arctic landscape and struggling to traverse the backyard snowpack that had compacted to a treacherous glaze. We took to strapping metal cleats designed for ice fishing onto our boots. I hear experts claim again and again that owning pets reduces stress and might extend your life. I tried to remember that as I dragged a hose out of the basement to fill the ducks' plastic swimming pool in January. And I wondered, why didn't anyone warn me?
Well, I'm coming down from Connecticut 995, heading toward the sunset on the East River Drive, to the pretty little city down on the Delaware, where the Philadelphia chickens are sure to be there. The Philadelphia chickens will be dancing tonight, thousands of chickens in the pale moonlight, can't sit still while the trumpets play. Strike of the band, get out of the way. Here come those Philadelphia chickens, swing, slide, and roll. Philadelphia chickens, up, over, and stroll. If you want to start moving like anything, find a Philadelphia chicken to teach you to swing. If you haven't seen it, you can't understand. Undulating chickens in a big swing band. The tighten the turns and loosen the knees. Whatever they do it with ease. Oh, the Philadelphia chickens will be dancing tonight. Thousands of chickens in the pale moonlight. Nothing like a chicken that knows how to swing. It's poultry in motion, it's a beautiful thing. Just watch those Philadelphia chickens swing, slide, and roll. Philadelphia chickens, up, over, and stroll. Philadelphia chickens, move those chicken feet. Philadelphia chickens, feel that chicken beat. If you want to start moving like anything, find a Philadelphia chicken to teach you to swing.
doesn't seem right to do a chicken sermon that doesn't include the obvious question, why did the chicken cross the road? An electorophile, that's a person who loves chickens, might say, I'm not sure, but it must have been part of a very well thought out plan. Because whether it's turkeys, or ducks, or geese, or rabbits, or pot-bellied pigs, most pet owners, especially those with non-traditional pets, will tell you that theirs is highly intelligent, way above your average run-of-the-mill chicken. And I'm not talking about this kind of chicken. I knew he made noise, I couldn't figure out how. So why chickens today, you might ask? Well, it was chosen by a member here who won the right to pick a sermon subject at the auction. You probably guessed that he has chickens. 40 of them, plus guinea hens, cats, and a dog. And since I love chickens, and you know, why else would a former congregant have bought me this? Since I love chickens, and every sort of animal, as most of you know, it sounded pretty reasonable to me. I felt sure that I could create a meaningful church service out of chickens. So in the next 20 minutes or so, I hope you appreciate our feathered friends a little bit more. And I also hope it helps you understand why people who seem to dote on their pets, maybe irrationally, are perfectly adjusted and healthy humans. Love the animals, love the plants, love everything, wrote Dostoevsky. If you love everything, you will perceive the divine mystery in things. I think our love of animals can sometimes just help us make sense of the world. Well, having this sermon to do was an excellent excuse to go visit my patron's farm. But his usually friendly flock, at least that's what he told me, was skittish because I was a stranger. And he called to them gently and he politely asked them to say hello to the nice lady, but they just turned tail and quickly walked in the opposite direction. I did get a few close-ups, though. Both traditional or odd pets will sometimes embarrass their owners with behaviors that are not acceptable by human standards. We forget that their manners are perfectly normal for their species. But since more than half of all pet owners say that their pets are as much a part of their family as any human member, a lot of times we act surprised if our animal does something wild. We often measure the intelligence of our pets based on behaviors that resemble our own. TikTok is full of videos of animals who act more human than otherwise. I'd like to think that there's an alternative universe that has an app that might be called KitKat, where animals post funny videos of their owners. A bunch of dogs sit around on a couch and bark uproariously as they see clips of humans clumsily picking up dog poo. Or chickens crack up as they watch humans search all over the farm for the eggs that they've hidden somewhere other than their nests. The peculiarities of our pets can frustrate us, of course. Yet we will pamper our bad dog and still treat them better than most humans. Some years ago, a friend was thinking about the possibility of having to move in with her daughter. She explained that her daughter treated her cat like royalty, even though it had messed up her brand new couch. My friend said she worships that cat. If I moved in with her and peed on her couch, she'd have me out on the corner in a minute. Well, I never thought that I'd be one of those people, but I gave one of our cats insulin shots twice a day for 2 years. Listen, we don't put Grandpa down when he gets diabetes. So, and some of you have heard about this, but one of our current cats drags our Afghans off our couch all over the house in the middle of the night, even up the stairs. And you're probably thinking, well, just put him up. No. He has superior intellect. He finds alternatives. If we put the Afghans away, he tugs clothes off hangers. So every morning as I pick up blankets off the floor, and yes, that's every morning. See me later if you'd like to see video. And I wash them for the 4th time in a week. I try to remember that cute little ball of fur gives me cute little head butts as I sit on the couch, or sits on my lap and purrs and puts his little head on my chest. We put up with weird behaviors because we love them, and we love to tell others about them. Perhaps because it makes us humans look so superior. But again, loving them is the connection to loving the whole world. Now, those who don't have pets or are far too cultivated to let them rule the roost might look down on those of us that endure those little foibles of our animals. Bob Tarp, the author of the reading from the book Enslaved by Ducks, says that in 10 short years, he inadvertently went from a blissful, pet-free existence to becoming the harried caretaker of ducks, geese, turkeys, parrots, parakeets, and rabbits. Now, in the beginning, he expected he would be the last person to be an animal lover. In fact, his former attitude was evident when his wife Linda lobbied for a bunny when they lived in Grand Rapids early in their marriage. She said, "Wouldn't it be fun to have an animal hopping around?" He replied, "You sort of hop when you walk. If you worked on it a bit, we wouldn't need a rabbit." Now, eventually, they would move to a farm in Lowell, Michigan, and acquire this over 24 animals, both furred and feathered. And that began his long journey of discovering that animals are little packets of alien intelligence capable of controlling, confusing, and teasing us. And he grew not only to love the animals, but became willing to expend enormous amounts of energy and money on them. When they first got ducks, his wife said they needed to buy a kiddie pool for them to put in the barn. Bob suggested they go to the hardware store because it was the end of the summer sale and they were half off. But his wife replied, "Those are with the stupid Ninja Turtle patterns. I don't like the way those look." Needless to say, the ducks received a far more sophisticated swimming pool. So what makes otherwise rational, mature beings gush, speak in strange voices, and spend exorbitant sums on creatures that cannot be housebroken? Well, Bob wondered the same thing. He wrote that viewed from an emotional distance, animals tend to blend together into an undifferentiated mass like a crowd of spectators at a football game. However, he found that if you pay close enough attention, even common animals reveal vivid personalities. Sure, some animals, but chickens with character? Yes. In the United States, since the pandemic, chickens have become increasingly popular. 8% of American households now have chickens. Are they delightful pets because they're also delicious? Well, chicken owners fall on both sides of the fence as to whether you eat your own chickens. Some will eat other people's chickens, but never their own, even when they stop laying eggs. That is because chickens, like so many other unusual or exotic animals, can become faithful companions. The Amelia Eggharts, Albert Eggsteins, Cluck Rogers, and General Tso's pet chickens out there are full of personality, they're entertaining, and they're very good company. Not to mention that they're said to be affordable, low maintenance, control insects in your yard, and are the only pet that can serve you breakfast. Of course, they also provide copious amounts of garden compost, and they can be a good alternative for people who are allergic to cats. But some chickens can be aggressive, and perhaps some of you were chased as a child by the real Attila the hens and birdzillas. But chicken fanciers will tell you that bad bird behavior is the exception. Most are so docile that owners keep them inside the house with proper attire, of course. Yes, that is a chicken diaper.
Taking the air, locked up the barnyard with the greatest of care. Down in the hen house, something stirred when he shouted out, "Who's there?" This is what he heard: "There ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. So calm yourself and stop that fuss. There ain't nobody here but us. We chickens trying to sleep, but you bust in and hobble, 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 hobble with your chin. There ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. You stomping around, shaking the ground, kicking up an awful fuss. We chickens just trying to sleep, and you bust in and hobble, 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 hobble. It's a sin."
So in my quest to prove that chickens have something to say about the meaning of life, I've shown that they have personalities, they can embarrass us, and they entertain us. But obviously just about any animal can provide companionship, unconditional love, and a sense of purpose. But how about giving us direct connections to not only nature, but prehistoric times? Can any of you honestly look at a chicken and not see dinosaur? And chickens are fascinating because they are so different from us, yet so like us. They have a need for companionship, community, a fluffy bed, and clean drinking water. Put simply, humans love to love animals, and chickens are as worthy of any love that we have to give them as any other animal in the kingdom. And they're not just in vogue today. They were considered sacred animals in ancient times. They were an emblem of good fortune and represented moral fortitude and courage. In the Western world, chickens are often associated with parental love. We've all heard the term mother hen, but that's a high compliment because chicken moms are extremely nurturing and protective of their chicks. So pet chickens aren't necessarily reserved for only the most eccentric of us. Several presidents had chickens: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Jimmy Carter. Theodore Roosevelt had a pet rooster with one leg that hopped around inside the White House. There he is. And did you know that there are more than 1,600 breeds of chickens and that they have 24 different types of vocalizations? Chickens have a social hierarchy, different visual displays, and good memories. Hens cluck to their chicks through their eggs to teach them who's mom. Now, besides all of these qualities, chickens can also grow attached to their humans. Some chicken fanciers say that they're cheaper than keeping dogs too, and just as loyal. But one of the biggest claims to fame to keep chickens is that they demonstrate a non-anxious example of how to live without worry. Now think about it. Unless there's a hawk circling, have you ever seen a chicken looking worried? The one thing that everyone seems to agree on is that you can't look at a chicken and not smile. Of course, I can't think of any animal that doesn't make me smile. But that's because of who I am. When Jerry and I were looking for a new home in Ohio many, many years ago, I insisted, and he acquiesced, that we get a piece of property that had zoning for farming. I had my heart set on a hobby farm, and I expected to get chickens, alpacas, goats, and maybe a donkey. And I had a strong sense that it was just a natural thing to do. It would be good for all of us, and we never did it. We were never in a financial position to get it started, and since both Jerry and I had lived on farms, we also realized how much work it was going to be, and we chickened out. But I was well aware that having animals around was a healthy thing to do, because I had taken therapy bunnies, kittens, and puppies to senior residences and group homes in my very first job out of college with a humane society. Now, we never had chickens there, but now chickens are being used as therapy animals too. There's a project in Australia called Hen Power, H-E-N Power, and pensioners, that's hen-loving pensioners, pensioners provide chickens to senior residences so they can pet them, care for them, and collect and eat the eggs. Not only do participants discover a sense of purpose, but a 2013 study of them showed that their depression decreased and their need for antipsychotic drugs. Researchers have also found that chicken therapy encourages people to go outdoors, promoted faster healing times, aided in cognition, and increased emotional and physical strength. Chicken therapy programs can now be found all over the world in Alzheimer's units, for children with autism, abuse survivors, and even in prisons. And some chickens have even been registered as emotional support animals. Although more and more urban areas are reducing their restrictions on keeping poultry, it's not always possible to have a chicken if you live in the city. So some online businesses have popped up for knitted emotional support chickens, or you can get a pattern and make one yourself. Why did I not think of that? But listen, everyone knows that animals are known to help people with mental health issues. Petting animals can calm a person. Besides the sense of touch, chemical reactions release hormones associated with relaxation and bonding. And furthermore, in taking care of animals, people get more physical activity, and that is a natural mood booster. Now, Bob wrote about his own depression in his book, and although he sought professional assistance, I am sure that having all of those animals had to have helped a bit as well.
Tomorrow is a busy day. We got things to do, we got eggs to lay. We got ground to dig and worms to scratch. It takes a lot of setting, getting chicks to hatch. There ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. So quiet yourself and stop that fuss. There ain't nobody here but us. Kindly point that gun the other way and hobble, hobble, hobble off and hit the hay. There ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. So calm yourself and stop that fuss. There ain't nobody here but us. Kindly point that gun the other way, and hobble, hobble, hobble off and hit the hay.
Now, although Bob couldn't have known it at the time, having animals most likely helped him take on the far greater emotional and physical task of caring for his wife in the last 3 years of her life. On a whim, I reached out to the author via email this week for this sermon. And I just basically wanted to see what his animals were doing these days and if he still had some. He sadly reported to me that his most kind and brave wife, Linda, had passed away just 2 weeks ago. And he shared a lot with me over email. In Enslaved by Ducks, you see Bob's transformation from an indifferent man to someone helping his wife fulfill the dream of a hobby farm, to someone who's willing to walk into a vet's office and demand that his pet turkey be seen. And naturally, anyone who is a pet owner would do the same. But when Bob's wife needed care, he said that felt natural too. He said, had he stopped to think about it, he might have thought he could never do that. But like caring for all of those animals and not stopping to think about it, it just happened as a natural progression, and he learned to care for her and all the animals. Even ones like Dusty, the gray parrot, who bit him regularly. He told me a couple of days ago he still has Dusty, 2 cats, and 2 doves. He also told me that he is definitely a different person today, but he needs to figure out what's changed. To me, part of his transition was that in the process of learning to love all the creatures, Bob also learned to become a natural and compassionate caretaker. Slipping into that role for his wife probably seemed like second nature to him. Caring for such a menagerie no doubt instilled a greater empathy for all living things. Although he no doubt would have taken care of Linda no matter what, with the animal encounters he had, I believe he probably was a better person because of it. Bob did say that we love animals at our peril. They will purr and cluck and lick us. They will settle into our laps or coo into your ear. He writes an injured turkey will struggle to her feet when she hears the sound of your voice. But on the downside are the disappointments. It's the parrot that hates you and the cat that hides under the bed. It's the trust that never comes. The starling you save that leaves without a goodbye glance. And the ducks and the geese that you cherish, nurse through sickness, that still shy away as if you were a predator. But, he says, find a clump of grass, plop down on it, and speak with a soft voice, and you might be rewarded with the close approach of a goose. She might even let you touch her, and you had better treasure the gift. Too suddenly and too often they leave us. It's the subtle comfort of their companionship. It's then we know that we can't live without them, even though sometimes we must. Pets can be a curse and a blessing. Mostly a blessing, I think. They stay by our sides through thick and thin. We may say we keep them for pure entertainment purposes, but that wouldn't explain why we often arrange our lives to accommodate our pets. Animals and pets are proven to benefit us physically and emotionally. And instinctually, I think we are drawn to animals because they remind us of our deep connections to the natural world. It's not only towering trees and peaceful brooks that can provide inspiration and awe. Animals really can help us perceive the divine mystery in things. They teach us to open our hearts, and they occasionally break ours too. They often remind us of ourselves, the supposed superior species. It seems like we humans do, though, seek out the quirkiest things to love. Or do they find us? Do chickens lay eggs in strange places because it happens to be where they are at the time? Or are they providing hide-and-seek entertainment for their keepers? It's a chicken and egg kind of question, and the world may never know. And that's a mystery I will gladly live with. May it be so.
I seen the bright lights of Memphis and the Commodore Hotel, and underneath the street lamp I met a Southern belle. Well, she took me to the river where she cast a spell, and in that southern moonlight she sang a song so well. If you be my Dixie chicken, I'll be your Tennessee lamb. And we can walk together down in Dixieland, down in Dixieland. Well, we made all the hot spots. My money flowed like wine. That low down southern whiskey began to fog my mind. I don't remember church bells or the money I put down on that white picket fence and boardwalk of the house at the edge of town. But boy, do I remember the strain of her refrain, the nights we spent together, and the way she called my name. If you be my Dixie chicken, I'll be your Tennessee lamb. We can walk together down in Dixieland, down in Dixieland. Well, it's been a year since she ran away. Yeah, that guitar player sure could play. She always liked to sing along. She's always handing with a song. Then one night in the lobby of the Commodore Hotel, I chanced to meet a bartender who said he knew her well. And as he handed me a drink, he began to hum a song. And all the boys there in the bar, they began to sing along. If you be my Dixie chicken, I'll be your Tennessee lamb. And we can walk together down in Dixieland, down in Dixieland.
Thank you. We are swinging. In the time of destruction, create something. A poem, a parade, a community, a school, a vow, a moral principle. One peaceful moment. Maxine Hong Kingston. And in that spirit, I invite you to join us for our weekly protest at the Peace Triangle between 1 and 2 today. We have signs available. Join us if you can. And if you're seeking further action, I'll be attending Flint City Council meeting 5:30 Monday to encourage them to pass the damn budget. The deadline is here as set by charter. We're seeking to forestall cuts in programs or personnel. See me for more information. And we have created something here in this place, and this is community. We give, we receive, we go forth today, share the bounty of our love, show it in words and acts. One way is to support this congregation. Please place your offering in the basket at the back of the church by the chicken as you leave, or by an online gift at uuflint.org. May this community give and receive in the spirit of love.
May the quality of our lives be our benediction and a blessing to all whom we touch.
And let us extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.